So we're going to remembrane the electrode, and we start by removing the dust cover, and then it's most important that you empty the reaction chamber before removing the electrode. So go through the menu until you come to empty. Say yes. This empties the reaction chamber. So when that's complete, unplug the electrode from the bulkhead and turn the bayonet fitting until it releases, and then withdraw the electrode. So we'll need a suitable vessel to empty the contents of the electrode into. And start by moving the O-ring out of the O-ring groove and removing the end crown, and then you can also take off the membrane O-ring and at the same time remove the membrane, the old membrane from the electrode, and now undo the knurled back nut, and at this point whatever electrolyte is left in the electrode will come out. And now we're just going to rinse the electrode parts with distilled water, and we'll do the jacket as well. And then sometimes the body O-ring is left in the jacket, so just remove that with the O-ring tool. And then just dry all the component parts thoroughly. Being very careful not to damage the silver coil on that part of the electrode. And so now we're ready for reassembly. So we'll take the electrode jacket stand, place the jacket on the stand, take a new membrane and position this on the end of the jacket. Now it's okay to reuse the O-ring mounting membrane 2 or 3 times. So position that on the O-ring mounting tool as close to the end as you can, and then to make it easier to slide this onto the membrane, just dip that in some water and then slide it down over the jacket like so, and just keep some pressure with your fingers for a moment or two, and then using the scissors just cut around the membrane to remove the carrier. Like so, and then we can trim that a bit more. Doesn't have to be trimmed close, just the excess. So as you can have a quick look at the membrane, you can see the membrane is perfectly flat. Now we can put the red crown in place. That retains the membrane mounting ring better. So the first thing to do now is to make sure you put the body O-ring back in the base of the jacket. It's very important to do this at this stage. And now we're going to just put a few drops of electrolyte into the jacket. And then gently tap the body of the electrode to displace any air that might be trapped. And now we'll continue filling the jacket with electrolyte up to the level of the red dot. Now if you remember, we have already uncovered the bleed hole. There's a very tiny bleed hole just here opposite the red dot, and it's important that this is uncovered at this stage. So now we're going to insert the electrode into the jacket with the red dot uppermost. So gently insert the jacket. It'll displace the electrolyte, that's perfectly okay, and right at the end you will see a little bit of electrolyte come out. Maintaining a bit of forward pressure on the cable, gently drop the black back nut until it's firmly tight. And now we're going to just dry the outside of the electrode, removing excess electrolyte. Check once again that the black back nut is firmly done up tight, and then move the O-ring back into the O-ring groove to cover the bleed hole. And again we're going to just dry it thoroughly. Now we're going to inspect the end of the electrode to make sure we have a nice dome appearance to the membrane. So before reinserting the electrode, we need to make sure the electrode aperture is dry. So using a tissue, just dry up inside the electrode aperture, just to make sure there's no moisture at all. Okay, so now we're going to reinsert the electrode. And it's always good practice to have the red dot uppermost, and just double check the O-ring is in place over the bleed hole. And so sliding it into the electrode chamber, just locate the bayonet, and you're turning clockwise, you'll feel a gentle click to confirm that the bayonet is in place. And now reconnect the bulkhead connector. And now we can perform a cycle to refill the chamber. Now it will take roughly 20 minutes for the electrode to stabilise after being made up. So if we have a quick look at the electrode output by going through the menu, electrode output, and already it is stabilised, and that is a normal reading.